Good morning. How are you? It's Wellness Wednesday and I hope you're well. And I thought I would check in and say hi. I appreciate that things in certain parts of the world are very bleak right now. So I wanted to do something a little bit positive and uplifting. And also, the theme for today's chat is about change because the world is undergoing a rapid and significant amount of change on a very macro level at the moment. And that change was unforeseen by many people. Morning, Vicky. Hope you're well. And what's happening now is people are having to rapidly change on a daily basis, even on a minute by minute basis. Hence, the number of daily updates we get from our politicians and the number of new rules that are being imposed on us daily, and so on and so forth. And I'm a little bit lucky where we are that we have week by week had some changes, but at the moment we can still, walk out of our homes and breathe, and we're not restricted to an hour a day. And for that reason, I still feel very fortunate. I took my new trainers out for a test run 5K this morning, and they held up very well. So I'm pleased with that investment. Sadly, Brooks haven't yet written to me to ask if they can sponsor me, but I'm sure if we all keep that intention set, Brooks' running team will be in touch soon. Because let's face it, there's no international athletes to watch on television. All the sporting events are cancelled, so there must be massive warehouses of shoes just sitting there waiting to be given out to athletes for free. So instead, they should give them to hardworking mums and dads who are busy keeping food on the table and also trying to keep them and their families healthy. So I'm going to put the word out to all exercise apparel companies, including some of my friends that I know work at Adidas, to start sponsoring mums and dads during this pandemic. Thank you very much. Okay, so where was I going with all that? I wanted to talk about change because change is featured quite heavily in my book. And there's a big reason for that is because the book is a transformational journey, and a lot of that transformational journey is thinking about change relative to our lives and how we can implement that to make change to have unbreakable mind, body, and spirit. And so I thought that I would just pick out a few key areas of the book where the concept of change is discussed and mentioned relative to our everyday life, and to give us some further food for thought, because we all have the capacity and ability, as we're now realizing, to change things quite rapidly. But as it's mentioned in my book, and I'm actually going to read the quote from page 75 of the book. The hardest part about changing yourself is that generally everything else stays the same. Same family members, same partner, same stresses, same responsibilities. Of course, a mass overhaul of your life is not always possible, but even small changes to your lifestyle can be difficult when you are still living and working in the same environment. It takes courage, commitment, and consistency, because there will be days when it will be easier to be the old you, not make a fuss, and just continue with your old habits. Being mindful of this will help keep you focused when you feel it's too hard or it's easier just to do what everyone else is doing. So obviously I wrote this before any of what's going on happened. And it is really important because at the moment we're all living with a massive amount of change. So if we want to start affecting more change in our lives in a positive way and not just focus on the negative things that will happen, now is almost the perfect time to do it, because this mass overhaul of our life is happening outside of our control. And sometimes if you want to make a change, you think, oh, I need to stop doing all of this and start doing all of this. Well, by default, we're in that transition period at the moment. So that's where you can start to think, okay, well, what changes can I make easily? Can I implement daily? And will stay with me and be consistent after all this is over. So that's really like the thought behind change, is how do you affect change when everything stays the same? And the reality is at the moment, nothing is the same. So we all have the ability to sit down and think about, well, what changes would we like to see in our life? And then I'm going to skip back to page 6 of the book, and this is relative to my life, and I'm sure it will be relative to yours. When I decided to implement a mass overhaul and change in my life, it was because I noticed that I was feeling chronically ill, and also my biological age was a lot older than my chronological age. And, you know, a quote here from the book on page 6 is, "Most often we don't decide to change until it's almost too late. We have a health scare. We lose someone close to us. We lose our job. And pretty soon all that is familiar and comfortable becomes untangled, including what we know and believe." So again, some of those 3 things may be relevant for you right now. Then a bit further down, I go on to talk about chronological age versus biological age. Let's forget chronological age for a moment, because we all have the power to positively and negatively influence our biological age. Do you want your biological age to be positive to your chronological age? Or do you want to be in the negative? Ask yourself this big question and then hit stop. Here's a quick example of what I'm talking about. When my childhood friend was 45 years old, he was involved in a serious accident. Thankfully, he recovered, but was suffering from back pain, so he thought he would visit a chiropractor. Considering he had just sustained a lot of internal injuries in his accident, he decided to have an X-ray on his back to check if things were okay. What he was told frightened him. His spine had degenerated and was the equivalent to a spine of a 70-year-old. He hit stop. He has 3 young children, is 45 years old, and was told his back is 30 years older than he is. So this is not just common in society today, it is endemic. But the great news is we're never too old to positively influence our health and well-being. And you can start right now. We are also never too old to learn the information we need to make the changes that are right for us. All the information that can help you create an unbreakable mind, body, and spirit is out there, free to consume at your own pace. However, I promise you that once you engage with content that enables you to live a happier, healthier, longer life, you will soak it up like gravy on white bread. I hope that resonates with you a little bit. And like I said, the theme today is about change, which is why I want to share those extracts from my book to get you thinking about what change means for you. Just going to pick out one more section now, which is on page 17. Only when we are truly open and vulnerable with ourselves do we grow and create space for change. So once again, I would argue that at the moment we're all feeling very, very vulnerable. But if we are open to that vulnerability and we use this time to effect change, we create space for ourselves to grow. And that is a really, really positive message. And to inspire you, I wanted to leave you with a quote today, which is on page 69 of the manuscript. This quote is, "If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you." And that's by Fred DeVito, and I love that quote. So really, I encourage you to sit back and have a think about the changes that we are undergoing as a society right now, changes that you have currently made in your life, but what they can mean for you going forward, and whereabouts in this avenue of mass overhaul of our lives can you start to affect healthy changes for the future, which bring you greater longevity, reverse your biological age to your chronological age, and to give you greater opportunity to live a life that is full of wellness and abundance, really. So that's my message. Thank you so much for watching Wellness Wednesday Live. I'm Chrissy Regan, the Wellness Poet, and I'm wishing you a lovely day. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye.